Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody to the Thursday Round 7 2022 GT3 GT4 Multi-Class Championship here at Indianapolis. It's been an absolutely long break. I hope everyone's had a great break, great holidays. Thanksgiving has passed, Halloween. Hope everyone's had a very great holiday break, and we have another one coming up very soon. I'm Mike Nause here. And as I said, we are here at Indianapolis. Currently just in free practice, chilling, watching some guys go around the turn complexes. This is turn 7. The Americans very unique in their corner names, naming them after numbers. There are 13 corners on this track, all of them being named after the corresponding number which you turn into them. But irrelevant here tonight. Ali Raza, currently here in free practice, will be topping our session. Currently the 136.8. Sitting here in the pits. Lovely livery, Garage 17. Chilling in Garage 17, of course. Casey Schutte here in the Huntsman Aston Martin 444 car. Currently in P2, just starting their lap. Why don't we hop on board with them, in fact, here in free practice, watch them rounding the complex. We have some hydration here already. That's a great idea. Make sure chat is well hydrated. Everyone else as well. YouTube viewers, stay hydrated, everyone. Hopefully, Casey Schutte here is very well hydrated, as he will be sweating it off this lap. This is free practice, of course, but Casey Schutte, I don't think he really cares too much. Free practice, qualifying, race, it's all the same to him. Although currently this is not the greatest lap, I will admit. He is currently 3/10 down from his previous lap being a 136.9 in the Aston Martin GT3. Currently, as I said, 4/10 down now, actually. Not quite looking to improve that time too much here. This track not being the longest, 136.8, as I said before, as the pole position time. Why don't we get the in-game volume rolling here? There we go. And we see Casey Schutte here coming into the pits along with Professor Chronotis behind him, or that might be, I'm not sure who that is actually. Quite a few teams here, I think, representing the adventure livery. Let's see here. Where is my race control? Keeps disappearing. There it is. Okay. Jose Guzman here. Not rocking that livery. We see Professor Chronotis, though, in the front of the pack rocking it. And actually, I think that's it. I think it is just Professor Chronotis rocking the adventure livery. Here we're getting into qualifying here. 20 minutes. We are going to see the split 2 drivers come out onto track. Let's see here. We see... Now we following the split 1 cars. Following the Mad Panda Motorsport, Alessana Borio here in the 63 AMG. Afonso as well in the Mad Panda Motorsport. First car on track, though, is that 85 car, Jarek Snyder. The AU team. I don't think he has anything to do with Australia, but I could be wrong. We see here, massive winged AMG here, rolling around the track. Indianapolis, not the track with the most amount of facts on it. I tried. Indianapolis was initially owned by Carl G. Fisher, in case anyone was curious, back in 1905. Not that has any relevance today whatsoever, or with this race currently. But it is a fact nonetheless. Jarek Snyder here, currently rounding the S's, if you want to call them that. The turn 10 and 11 complex coming into turn 12, then into the chicane here of 12 and 13. No, I can't find the proper layout. That's the issue. Anyways, we'll figure that out here at some point, I'm sure. Hope everyone's having a great night. Washed up Squid, welcome. You grew up right down the street. All right. This isn't a golf course, this is a racetrack. Who's our series leader? That's a very good question. I don't think I have that set up in terms of display, but I can read that out. Currently, in terms of standings, we have Ollie Raza in split one, leading the GT3 field. I think, actually, are they in? No, they're in the GT4s right now. But Ollie Raza leading split one, followed by Andreas Mostachero, then Nause leader. And in split two, we have Eric Miller leading Jason Provolone and Justin Moffitt. Anyone interested here, I will be posting the link of the sim grid in the chat. We have Provolone in the chat posting that stinky cheese as always. Okay, fair enough. There's a golf course. We now see Jarek Snyder finishing his first lap, coming across the line 138.3, not the fastest lap we've seen here in the part so far of the qualifying. 137.2 from Borio. Casey Schutte here, not too far behind, 137.5. So a track owns a golf course. All right, fair enough. Rich people be rich. I don't blame them. Will Brenner here, coming in for that fourth position, currently 1.4 seconds off the pace, 137.6. And Bucknam right behind him. The Bucknam-Brenner rivalry, everlasting here. Well, being split now, I guess, by Professor Kenotis. And that adventure team, BMW number 42. The 137.9, 137.98 from Bucknam, 137.96 from Kenotis, and 137.66 from Brunner. Very close indeed. Brunner leading that rivalry currently in the 98 McLaren. Insert name here. Ollie Raza, oh, excuse me. Ollie Raza taking pole position with a 136.1. That's more like the times we were expecting to see here. 1 second up onto Borio. Split 2 drivers still yet to come out. This is GT4 drivers, of course. I'm Not Jimmy down here in P21. We'll be coming across the line. Let's see where he ends up finishing. Ends up setting a time in second position. Absolutely lovely time there. 136.4 from I'm Not Jimmy. Stonker of a lap, honestly. Topping Casey Schutte there by about 0.4 of a second. And he continues on here. Why don't we follow along board with I'm Not Jimmy? as I grab a drink of water, because I need one. Alrighty. Drink of water has been consumed. Wade Beachley in the chat saying hi, chat. Hi on the chat. Welcome, everyone. I'm not Jimmy. Currently, 10th and a half up. Dropping down to about 1/10 now. And actually improving quite a bit here as we accelerate around this bend here. Coming into the spicy chicane, very long chicane. Honestly, I don't even know if you can call it a chicane. That car wanting to drift out from underneath him. Front end though biting up very nicely. That Aston Martin looking quite planted around here as we accelerate round the start finish line here. Coming across the line, I'm Not Jimmy looking to improve. He does improve on his time, 136.1, but not enough for pole position. Ollie Raza, 135.9, manages to top it, and coming across the line is going to improve on that, 135.74. Ollie Raza not looking to mess around tonight, looking to take that lead very handedly. 12 minutes left here in qualifying. That means these drivers will have till about 10 minutes to start their laps. After that, they will no longer be able to. GT4 cars will be coming on to track to start their laps and get their qualifying sessions underway. Currently, we're following along with Will Brenner here. Currently 4/10 up on his lap. Not too much more to go on his lap either as he comes through the S's. Rounding the long right-hander, being very patient in second gear. The car wanting to step out just a little bit front end, not quite biting up the way he would want it. And now just flat out all the way to the very long chicane. Trying to avoid that curve. If you take that curve in the McLaren, you will end up in the stratosphere. Getting on that throttle nice and early is Will Brenner, 3/10 up currently. Accelerating around the final bend. Come across the line here. Will be improving on his time currently in P4. Stays in P4 though. Very, very close to Casey Schutte. Only about 200ths behind Casey Schutte there. Setting a purple sector 1 is Will Brenner. But these purple sector times still held by Ollie Raza. Ollie Raza actually setting purple every single sector there. 135.6 from Ollie Raza. He's looking to take and hold that pole position. 3/10 up on I'm Not Jimmy now. We'll see if I'm Not Jimmy has a response. Casey Schutte though as well. Andres Mastachero, someone that you would think that would be having a fairly decent response. Currently about 1.5 seconds off of pole position time and improving a good bit on this lap, but looking like he's getting held up in traffic just a little bit. I think that's Jarek Snyder in front of him in that AMG. It's not affecting him too much actually, as it is helping him a bit. Currently sitting down in P9, 5/10 up on his lap. Jarek Snyder dives out of the way. And now we have just the final corner here. As we come around it, Andreas Mastachero will be coming across the line, currently sitting in P9, up into P6. Nice improvement indeed from him. That will be his final lap. As we now see the GT4s coming out on track. Other cars yet to finish their lap. Fallon here will be pushing through the final sector, just starting now. Up in a second here, riding that second gear as long as you can in that Porsche, that rear engine Porsche, wanting that back end to step out at any opportunity it can. Just the slight touch of the throttle too much and you are going to be pirouetting. But coming across the line, currently in P5, stays P5. So that Porsche 55 Porsche there of Ross Fallon will be sticking in that P5 position. Currently, we have the 82 car leading the way of the GT4s. That will be Jason Provolone, of course, in the Alpine, as he is rounding that final corner right now, or penultimate corner, I'm not sure. They look like two corners kind of, but I think it's just one. As we push along here, down the start-finish straight into T1, looking for that braking zone as late as possible, just before that 400 marker, trying not to take that curb. That curb, as I said, will launch you. And now just riding the inside curb very nicely, trying to use all the track possible here. Downshifting here into third gear, riding it very long. It's a very tricky sector 1 as we now come into the horseshoe. We have to go all the way down into second gear here. Afonso, welcome. And now onto the long straight, the back straight, coming into the S's as you're accelerating the entire way up into fifth gear here in these GT4 cars. Downshifting all the way down to second. First gear, you don't really want to try in a GT4 car, as these cars have pretty short gearing. But very nicely navigated from Jason Provolone. Now coming into the final sector here, accelerating all the way flat out into the very long chicane, taking a bit too much curb almost, but keeping it under control. These GT4 cars able to do so. Even the little Alpine currently the one we are on board with, of course. Now coming across the start finish straight, and now coming across the line, we'll see where Jason Provolone, the first GT4 car, does manage to set 145.8 from Jason Provolone. Following behind him, we see a 147.0 from Carlos Guzman. Everyone else in the 147s. Jason Provolone absolutely dominating that leaderboard right now. 146.8 from Polsky. Other cars still yet to cross the line, of course. See if anyone can challenge that time from Jason Provolone, and Jason Provolone as well is improving quite massively, I should say, on this lap. Currently 5/10 up, and a long way to go. Gabe Carnes here, down in P3 of the GT4s, as well on a good improvement, but looking like he's going to get caught up in traffic just a little bit. Carlos Guzman in the Crazy Rabbit Racing GT4 BMW 139 car here, 1 second up on his lap. Why don't we follow along with him, actually, as this will be a good improvement of a lap. See where this time puts him. Currently 147.0 from in pole position, sitting at a 145.8. He will need to improve quite a bit to take that pole position, but he is improving quite a bit. We'll see though by the end of the lap, is it enough? Bit deep into the chicane, having to take control of that a little late. That's going to cost him a few tenths. But rounding the penultimate corner, and now the final one. 147.0 previously, currently sitting down in P15. Actually drops down to P16, then P12 from Gabe Carnes, or excuse me, Carlos Guzman. Very nice lap indeed. 145.5. Has to improve about 4/10, about 5/10 actually. Take that pole position from Provolone. Provolone though not on an improvement lap this one. Looking like he is trying to save those tires for another lap. Reggie King down in P4 here for the GT4 class. Excuse me, P5. Justin Moffitt taking that P4. The Mothman, of course, in that Crazy Rabbit Racing. 223 Aston Martin. Pushing along and actually on quite the improvement this lap as well. The 146.5 has to improve about 0.3 to improve on Gabe Carness for that P3 position. And currently improving at 0.7. And there's still a few more turns to go. Plenty of time to make up, plenty of time to lose. We'll see as he sits down in P14 overall, P4 in class. See where he ends up here as he's rounding the final chicane. Now the penultimate corner. As he gets ready to accelerate all the way down the start-finish straight. 0.8 up. 146.5. P14. Where does this put him? Puts him up into P13. 145.7. Does not quite get the improvement onto Carlos Guzman or Jason Provolone. Jason Provolone on a very fast lap as well. Still a long ways to go though. Along with Justin Moffitt, the Mothman. Plenty of Mothman supporters in chat, I'm sure. Actually, Moffitt is off. 2.5 minutes to go left in qualifying. Still enough time for Justin to get out on track and set one. Has to hurry though. Currently following along with Eric Miller in that BRG Aston Martin, number 17 of course. BRG meaning the British Racing Green. Lovely colors indeed. Riding along with him. That car getting very out of shape actually. That back end wanting to step out massively through that final chicane. But now coming across the line. Currently sitting in P16. Does jump a position up to P15 over Reggie King. P5 in class. Will continue on. Has time to set one more lap. See what they can make of it. Justin Beachley here, trying his absolute heart out. Currently down in P18. Pushing along, currently about 1/10.5 up. Rounding the penultimate corner into the final turn complex here. Good improvement, currently sitting down in P18. See if he can manage to improve on that. Can he take P17 or even P16? Let's see. Down to P19 and actually stays there. Now Moffitt in chat, welcome. Great qualifying, man. Sitting down in P3 right now. Jason Provolone trying to make his laps look, well, like an overachiever. Has no one to contest that pole position. Eric Miller, 0.3 up on his time, currently rounding the penultimate turn complex right now. Hey, Carlos, I wouldn't complain there, man. Second place is where it's at. Eric Miller now coming across the line. P15 overall, P5 in class. Lots of these drivers still yet to finish. Justin Beachley, one of them. Takes a bit of dirt there, right there. That's going to lose a tiny bit of time, I think, for him. Currently sitting down in P19. Has one more sector to go. See here, the 18 Audi, the R8. Car is getting out of the way very nicely for him. I think that was the 129 car of Jose Guzman. Jose Guzman down in P23. The 148.0. Justin Beachley coming across the line, currently a 146.8, improving to a 146.5 and jumps up a couple of positions up into P16. But that will be the end of his qualifying. We'll see if Kevin Yu can manage to improve on that as well. Eric Gossian coming across the line right now. Final driver 2 improves for his position by 1. Actually, Jose Guzman getting bumped down to P24 there. I'm not sure what happened. But nonetheless, we are now getting into the race 1 of tonight. Track conditions looking optimum. Weather looking quite good tonight. Temperatures quite high. We will here get into the grid run. Actually, we only have one race tonight, of course, as it's a sprint race. One mandatory pit required from these drivers. And, of course, it's hydration time. Lovely. So we will start with a grid rundown here. Currently, pole sitter. Let's see if we can get a camera angle. Good enough. Ollie Raza in that number 30 Porsche, bringing up that pole position by a good margin. I'm Not Jimmy. The lovely lap taking that second position, 69 Aston Martin. Casey Schutte in P3 with the 444 Aston Martin. Will Brunner in the 98 McLaren. The 55 Porsche here of Fallen in P5. Andreas Masachero down in P6. Professor Cronotis in P7. We have Jake Bucknam lining up next to Cronotis in P8. Jarek Snyder in P9. Andreas Alex Afonso in P10. Jason Provolone in P11. Carlos Guzman. I should say Jason Provolone bringing up the pole position for the GT4 cars in P11. Or P1 in class. Carlos Guzman bringing up P2 or P12 overall. Justin Moffitt bringing up that third slot in the GT4 class in the 223 Aston Martin. Gabe Carnes in the number 9 Porsche. Eric Miller in the number 15 position with the number 17 Aston Martin at BRG Racing green. Justin Beachley P16. Reggie King P17. We have Anthony Macho Camacho in that Audi R8. Number 7 Audi in P18. Polsky in P19. Kevin Yu in P20. Tanner Masters in P21. We have Daniel Versosa bringing up the P22 position. Eric Gossian in P23. And Jose Guzman bringing up the rear in that BMW for P24. Cars now will be getting underway as we see them getting ready for this starting formation lap. Formation lap not quite being the longest here, as we saw in qualifying, or rather practice 136s, qualifying 137s here on higher race fuel. Obviously we're going to be seeing a little bit longer than that, but these drivers of course ready. Will Brunner with the 15-second penalty. I think that is from previous races. Any other drivers here? We have Jose Guzman starting at the back of the grid with a 15-second penalty as well. Other than that, though, we have a field that is ready to race. I'm Not Jimmy, eager to get underway here. Pounce on Ollie Raza. I've not seen I'm Not Jimmy this far up the grid in a while. See if he can manage to make anything of it. Hopefully he can keep all 4 tracks on the rubber. Oh, that was what I meant to say. All 4 tires here on the tarmac, of course. We'll see if he can manage that. I'm Not Jimmy, a driver we've seen improving massively over the season. Currently only 10 drivers in the GT3 field, but that does not change how impressive his improvement has been over this season. We can take a look here at the liveries, of course, of the drivers. Hopefully this doesn't make anyone sick. This is not ideal. All right. We'll get down here. Whoa. We're trying new things, everyone, as they're coming into the final turn complex. Getting ready for this race start. Drivers now going to be lining up 2x2 Noah's Ark formation here. I'm Not Jimmy, eager to get underway, of course. Ollie Raza not too, what's the word? Eager, I suppose. And currently we see an empty track, but we're going to try this. This is for science, everyone. We're going to see how this works. We're green here at Indianapolis. This is a very exciting camera angle, of course, where we see absolutely nothing happening but the cars, mere dots in the distance as they come racing down to turn one. Ollie Raza leading the way in that Porsche. I'm Not Jimmy close behind. Casey Schutte going side by side with Ross Fallon. 3 wide McLaren of Will Brunner. And other cars. Everyone so far making it out of T1 very cleanly. Be honest, I don't think the camera angle worked too well. It was worth a shot. I'm Not Jimmy, though, quick on the tail of Ollie Raza. Casey Schutte not too far behind, but having to look behind him just a little bit here from Ross Fallon. Ross Fallon behind will have Will Brunner. Andreas Mastachero, pretty much everyone keeping their positions more or less. Professor Canonis, I think, having a decent improvement, but Jake Bucktham trying to make a move down the inside here into the S section. Can he manage to keep a nose ahead? It does so far. You thought that angle was awesome? Okay. Noted. I need to figure out how to get to that angle and watch the start. That would be ideal. But I'm not a Formula One production here. But we do see 2 wide action from multiple drivers. We see a Mad Panda with Jarek Snyder going side by side, and Professor Canotis here with Andreas Mastachero as well. Battling going on here. Down the field, actually, we see Daniel Versosa looking up to Eric Gukasi, and Eric Gukasi making a pretty good improvement on his lap 1. I think he started down in P23. Managed to make up a couple of positions. Looking ahead to Kevin Yu, but also having a look in his rearview mirrors as he has Daniel Versosa looking at his rear diffuser here into T1. He does manage to keep him behind him. Daniel Versosa, of course, having to look behind him. Tanner Masters not too far behind either. Andreas Mastachero trying to make a move here on to Will Brunner. Let's hop on board with him. Looks a lot closer from third person, I will admit, but that does not change the talent that's required here from these drivers to drive this close. That number 14 car absolutely driving the wheels off this Porsche to try to keep up with that McLaren and the... Oh, wow, as you can see right there, a massive moment of oversteer, and he does manage to save it. Massive save from Andreas Mastachero. And sticks with the McLaren there down into first gear for the very long chicane. Definitely won't be seeing that from the GT4 cars. And speaking of the GT4 cars, we see Gabe Carnes here. Closely behind, but not too closely behind, Justin Moffitt. Justin Moffitt taking that second position for right now, and Jason Provolone pulling away pretty handedly. In fact, actually quite handily, I would even say. 8 seconds to the GT3 field. That's not Justin Moffitt. 4 seconds to Jason Provolone. So, and it looks like that time will not be closing up as we see Gabe Carnes here scrapping along with Justin Moffitt, trying to make a move down the inside, but Justin Moffitt late enough on the brakes onto the marbles, but still keeps it on track, manages to hold that position. Lovely defending there from Justin Moffitt. Has to keep it up though. Hour and 10 minutes to go in this race. Long way to go for all these drivers. Don't want to get too eager. Definitely don't want to wreck the car. And Justin Moffitt doing a great job of just that. Having a look a little bit in his rearview mirror. Gabe Carnes pressuring along, but I think he is pulling on him. Tanner Masters, though, from behind, making a move on to Daniel Versosa. And we also see Polsky not too far behind this as well. Down the inside goes the Aston Martin. That Mercedes helpless. Daniel Versosa has to yield that position and is now under threat from Polsky, but we see a yellow flag. Beachley is going very quickly off the track and actually back onto it. Looks like he had a good save. Let's see what happened right here. Onto the grass, and Justin Beachley just keeps his foot in it. Respect. Onto the oval track even. Carrying that momentum. He'll have a great exit onto the straight, of course. Does manage to keep that P17, but not quite the optimal line he would have wanted to go for there. Nonetheless, though, making the best of it. Gabe Carnes trying to make a move down the inside here of Justin Moffitt. Doesn't get anything from it, though. These two will be scrapping at it for a while, I will imagine. This is for P2 in the race. Plenty of time left to go. So, might be best for these two to work together, actually. Try to pull ahead with each other. But that is significantly easier said than done. As we see there, Gabe Carnes running a little bit deep onto the marbles. Trying to keep up with Justin Moffitt. Now actually has to look a little bit in the rearview mirror here of Eric Miller. Right along with him as he catches up here with Justin Moffitt. Excuse me, Gabe Carnes. Rounding the final sector just now. Eric Miller keeping in that slipstream, but not close enough to get affected by that dirty air. Aston Martin, though, quite heavy. Sharp Provolone tonight. Yeah, you're not. No kidding, man. Provolone is gone. Provolone currently 5.5 seconds up from our second place of Justin Moffitt. Provolone on another level tonight. We do see Gabe Carnes here trying to make a move down the inside, though, of T1. Way late on the brakes, onto the grass. Has to make the save. We also see yellow flags behind from Andreas Masachero and I think that was Bucknam. What has happened here? We see them going side by side. Oh, and they make pretty big contact, actually. Looks like that Porsche maybe even died. Having to get that started again. Does lose a position to Bucknam. Brunner making contact with Andreas Masachero. Andreas Masachero trying to make a move here onto Bucknam. Wants to get that job done as soon as possible. Has shown that he has the pace. Unfortunately, getting tangled up with a small incident. Still, though, plenty of time left to go to make up that. Down the inside, he's going to have a look. Gets covered off, though. Bucknam not wanting to give up that position whatsoever. Stays on track, both of them. And that 14 Porsche is going to have to wait for another opportunity. Potentially even on another lap. Right along with him here. Oh, but there's a bit of a mistake from that Aston Martin. That 690 Aston Martin going a bit deep. Gives the Porsche the opportunity to go side by side with him. Trying to go late on the brakes is Andreas Montecero, but keeping ahead for right now is Bucknam. They make contact even. Man, neither of them wanting to give an inch to each other. We'll see here. Andreas Montecero with the inside line. Does manage to hold it for right now. The switchback, though, from Bucknam. Trying to get the better exit. Not quite. And Andreas Montecero does hold that position right now. Looking up ahead now to Will Brunner with that 15-second penalty. Oh, but we see flashing of the lights from Bucknam behind, who is quite impatient, I would imagine. Not quite too thrilled to give up that position to Andreas Montecero. We'll see here. I think he has managed to seal it. Follow along here. Onto the start-finish straight, right along with Bucknam. Covering off the inside heavily is Andreas Montecero, so he is not confident in his position. The slipstream, absolutely massive. Trying to go around the long way is the Aston Martin. Going for the switchback. Not going to make it happen this lap. Very, very nice defense indeed from Andreas Montecero, as he is currently only looking behind, it seems. But I understand why, as he has Brunner up the road with a 15-second penalty. Just needs to stay within that window, and he should be all good. Gibber, welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a great night tonight. Yellow flags. Not sure who that was. We see Carlos Guzman with the yellow flag. What happened here? Oh, it's too late to see what happened here. Man's in the gravel. Following along now with Tanner Masters, chasing down Daniel Versosa. Everybody here needs to make one mandatory pit stop. These drivers that have taken on a little bit of damage will be absolutely grateful that is the rule. And behind, actually, we see Polsky, I think, getting overtaken by Anthony Macho Camacho. Anthony Macho Camacho making his way there up into P20. Now looking up ahead to Tanner Masters and Daniel Versosa, but Tanner Masters currently has a battle of his own going on right now with Daniel Versosa, this AMG and Aston Martin trying their best to get that position for P18. Looking like he isn't going to make anything of it just yet. This is the closest battle on track, though, so we'll stick with it. Why don't we get the relatives up? That sounds a bit better than seeing the overalls. Oh, and down the inside goes Tanner Masters. Daniel Versosa, though, late enough on the brakes to manage to cover that off. Lovely defense. Tanner Masters, though, not giving up whatsoever. He is going to try to come back around the long way. Carry that momentum into T1 here. We'll see if he can keep that slipstream, though there is cars behind him as well. We see Anthony Macho Camacho breaking the slipstream of the car behind and tucking in behind. Is that Ollie Raza? That is Ollie Raza, the race leader currently. Tanner Masters managing to stay on the track. Daniel Versosa not so much. And he does manage to secure the position. Does Tanner Masters for right now. We see Ollie Raza. I'm not Jimmy in case Shooty all getting through the lap traffic here, of course. First of many tonight, as we still have 1 hour here left on the clock. So plenty of time for lap traffic. We see yellow flag from Eric Gakassian. What has managed to happen here? Oh, no! Ooh, and there's contact with the McLaren side-by-side action there. Not sure who that was. Oh, and massive contact with one of the Mad Pandas. Cars coming into the pits. Looking like they do want to take their pit stop for those repairs early on. Afonso, though, side by side with Jarek Snyder. I think Jarek Snyder did manage to hold that for right now. Coming into the final sector, though. We'll see if Afonso can manage to catch up to Jarek Snyder. Jarek Snyder keeping that advantage quite a bit. Camera not doing us justice, but into the pits comes Afonso. I think our first pit stop of the GT3s. Not sure. I think Afonso might have been the one to get caught up in that incident earlier. Daniel Versosa here chasing down Tanner Masters with plenty of traffic behind Will Brunner, still with that 15-second penalty. Runs a bit wide, does Daniel Versosa, but that's just letting the GT3 cars through. Sees the scrap up ahead going on. Thinks, I don't want to have any part of that. We see one car, though, off the track. Is that Beachley? Oh, it's Anthony Macho Camacho. What has happened to him? Trying to go into... Oh, off the track onto the curbing. Just takes way too much curb there, unfortunately. Launches him off the track. And Anthony Macho Camacho losing out even more position. Actually, that's Jarek Snyder lapping him, so not actually, but nonetheless, losing out on quite a few positions. Other drivers here yet to pit. Casey Schutte, all the top runners, in fact, of the GT3 field who are now working their way through the traffic and doing a great job of it, might I add. Each one of them, I'm Not Jimmy leading... No, excuse me, I'm Not Jimmy about half a second behind Ali Raza. Casey Schutte as well. Not too far behind either of them. Oh, and very, very deep goes Casey Schutte. That's going to compromise him. Luckily, he doesn't have too many threats behind. Only threat behind is the lap traffic of Moffitt, but that will hamper his push onto I'm Not Jimmy, along with Ali Raza. Other drivers here battling along Gabe Carnes and Afonso. I guess Afonso not really battling along, I should say. He has taken his pit stop 999 AMG. And he is in that GT3 car. Pushing along, getting past all the GT4s. But has a long way to look. Still has to lap the GT3 leaders. Or rather, unlap himself. And catch back up. Definitely going to be a difficult challenge. We'll see though. Alfonso, driver who definitely can be capable of doing such feats. Daniel Versosa here side by side with Tanner Masters. Tanner Masters late enough on the brakes though to hold that position. Days ahead for right now. Keeps going along here into the horseshoe. Gonna be the start of Sector 2 here. See a car trailing quickly behind. That's Polsky. But Daniel Versosa, I don't think cares about that too much, as he is only looking forward here at Tanner Masters. Trying to get the best possible run he can. Has a bit of distance, but late lunge down the inside. The gap is open. Tanner Masters leaves it there, but isn't going to be capitalized from Daniel Versosa. We'll see here if Polsky can manage to pressure Dan Versosa into a mistake where he maybe overcommits to a turn or overcommits to an attack. We'll see. But Polsky, I would imagine, very content with just hanging behind for right now. Lapping very impressive times. And these two battling. I don't think these two are going to end up, well, giving up either of them. See coming out and start finish straight here. We'll see who will be late enough onto the brakes into T1. Andreas Mastachero, or excuse me, Tanner Masters and Daniel Versosa. Daniel Versosa though braking a bit too early. That gives the compromise to the Porsche. Wow. Polsky in that Country Club Racing Porsche. Lovely maneuver. Does manage to steal that position away. And now pushing down the start-finish straight. That's not the start, that's a back straight. Into the S's. We see this group of cars. This group of cars, as I said, I think before, will not be dispersing. These guys doing a great job to keep up with one another and not pushing each other too hard in the point where they make a mistake and cost each other time. But these drivers nonetheless as racy as ever. Oh, and the polystyrene barriers everywhere. Let's go back and see that again. No, let's not, because we got battling going on. Daniel Versosa here and Tanner Masters battling away, as we saw a car there battling with the polystyrene. Got four cars coming in on start finish straight. Daniel Versosa looking to make a move down the outside here of, I think that is Tanner Masters. They don't make contact, but they give each other enough room there. Very respectful indeed from both drivers. Porsche looking quite strong here tonight. Porsche in both classes, that is, I should say. Currently, though, Alpine leading the way of the GT4 field. 33 car here of Jason Provolone, followed up by Alfonso in the 999 AMG. No, Alfonso is last place of the GT3s, excuse me. Followed up by Eric Miller, sitting down in P12. Number 17. We have Eric Miller. that I just read off. Justin Moffat, P3. Currently 2.5 tenths. Actually, let's look at that battle. I think Justin Moffat currently in a fight for position here with Eric Miller even. Still plenty of time to go left in this race. See if they manage to make up anything. Or if they're just saving their tires for later. Noodle, welcome. Welcome. Hope you're having a great night. Hope everyone's having a great night. Thanks everyone for joining tonight. Welcome back to the Trackalicious streams. As we're back back from the holidays. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving, or what have you. But we are back to some racing. Watching here, Moffat chase down Eric Miller. The Mothman doing what he can right now. Doing a great job of it, might I say. Gabe Karn a second behind. Not making too much ground whatsoever. And that's pretty much exactly what Moffat wants. And Moffat going to be trying to carry the speed onto the start-finish straight. That's not start-finish straight. That's into the chicane. Trying to take the alternate line. We'll see if he can manage to carry the speed onto the start-finish straight now. And get that overtake done onto Eric Miller. Not sure if he'll be able to. Slipstream will have to be good. It'll even have to be great. Coming down the start-finish straight now. Will we see a Porsche tuck out of that slipstream? We don't. We see him have a little bit of a look, but that's just a scare tactic. Justin Moffat not falling for that whatsoever. And we even, excuse me, Eric Miller not falling for that. Gabe Karnas, though, is going to have the opportunity to get the overtake there onto Justin Moffat as Justin Moffat runs wide into the gravel in T1. Side-by-side action, even more so with Anthony Macho Camacho here. He does get out-braked by the car in front of him. That's Polsky. Not sure who was ahead before this encounter started. But as we're joining it, neither driver really ahead. That BW, or excuse me, not BWG. The Country Club Racing Porsche. Lovely livery. That Audi as well. Very nice livery. Casey Schutte catching up quite rapidly. 12 seconds behind if he was to come to a dead stop. That is Anthony Macho Camacho. But he's too macho for that. He would never do such a thing. .48 minutes left to go. Pushing along here. Following along with Anthony. As he has fallen off the pace a good bit from Polsky. Polsky, though, up ahead, chasing down Tanner Masters. Has managed to make some decent ground. Gabe Karnas, though, with the slipstream onto Eric Miller. We'll see if he can manage to make anything into the back straight here. Has to be quite aggressive. Get your elbows out here if you want to get that move done. That Porsche with great acceleration and actually even with greater cornering down the inside, we see that was even a more ambitious move than I would have made. But nonetheless, why I'm sitting here in the booth and not out there. Gabe Karnas pushing along though. Will try his absolute best to get by. Isn't going to happen this lap. See here, looking a bit more up the field, we see Professor Canotis here. Oh, almost getting involved with the back marker there of Jose Guzman. Jose Guzman with a 15-second penalty, of course. Alfonso as well with a 15-second penalty. Those penalties will be served during the pit stop phase. We see a couple drivers have made their pit stops. We have Bucknam making his. No, Bucknam has not made his. Excuse me. Alfonso has made his. Carlos Guzman has made his. Currently, the ones we can see on the screen. We will see, though. I'm sure those changing quite frequently. 45 minutes left to go in this race. Plenty of time to do, well, quite frankly, anything. Anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. So we will see what is in store with us. Don't go anywhere. But of course, we're not going anywhere either. Following along with the action here of Gabe Carnes and Eric Miller. That BRG Aston Martin doing an absolutely fantastic job of defending from Moffitt. But I don't know how long he can manage to make this work without losing too much time. We see the car of Kevin Yu closing in behind. And I don't think that's what either of them want to see. Or excuse me, is that Gabe Carnes? Who is that? No, that's Moffitt, yeah. See the remnants there of the polystyrene from the driver that took that out earlier. Making the braking point even more difficult than it needs to be. But hey, that's racing for you. Justin Moffitt now will be coming across the line for his second vault. Now coming through the horseshoe complex, as I'm going to call it. Don't really know what else to call it. Tailing one another here is Gabe Carnes and Justin Moffitt. See if they can manage to make anything happen. But nonetheless here, as we are coming to a little bit of a lull. Track slowing down just a little bit. Currently only a couple battles on track, one of which we are following along with here. Gabe Carnes chasing down Eric Miller and Justin Moffitt as well, chasing them down. Ali Raza in 9th position, trying to lap these cars. Oh, and there's a big slide! Gabe Carnes, everyone's off. Gabe Carnes, Justin Moffitt. What has happened here? That's Polsky that's off. Let's go back and see what happened. Oh, and there's contact between Gabe Carnes and Polsky. Both of those drivers ending up into the grass. Absolutely hate to see it. A couple drivers, though, benefiting from that quite massively. Justin Moffitt, quite relieved from the pressure now. Pressuring on to Kevin Yu, even. Doesn't have anything to worry about in his rearview mirror except for Reggie King. About a second behind. Makes a dummy down the outside and makes the move down the inside. Lovely overtake. Sells the dummy onto Kevin Yu. Gets the job done. Kevin Yu now under threat from Reggie King. But actually, Kevin Yu trying to make the move back here onto Justin Moffitt. Doesn't quite get anything done of it just yet, but late on the brakes. My, oh my, Kevin Yu. Not wanting to give that position up. Now has I'm not Jimmy. Oh, I'm not Jimmy. Almost getting caught in a sandwich right there. Not where you want to be when you're the race leader. Both of them letting him by very nicely. But their battle will resume. Coming into the S's here. Who will get the better exit? And if you do get the better exit, do you want to overtake before the straight? Straight will be the best opportunity with that slipstream to get the job done. And if you have the pace, you can just pull away. Not have to worry about them whatsoever. Currently, though, rounding the final corner. See where this puts them. As I said, not the greatest lap from any of the Marines, unfortunately, but continue on here. Ollie Raza making his pit stop. We do see some drivers manage to make the pit stop. 40 minutes left to go. Casey Schutte not quite doing his yet. I'm Not Jimmy leading this race though, but that's Eric Miller making a bit of a mistake actually. Losing a tiny bit of time. Will Brunner in the pits now. That McLaren coming in. We see lots of diversity in that top field. Actually, not too much diversity, I should say. Mainly Aston Martins and Porsches. Got a McLaren in there to mix it up, along with the Beamer. But other than that, variety. Not spiciest, but that's alright. Racing is still great. And even further down the field, Reggie King pressuring on to Kevin Yu. Sorry, I punched my mic. Reggie King has a bit of ground to make up before having to make that move. They are catching quite quickly to Justin Moffat. Moffat needs to get the move on. His foot onto the throttle. You see Fallon here getting by the lap traffic. GT3 on GT4 action, as this is the mixed class league, of course. Polsky in the pits for the GT4 cars, of course. See where he ends up coming out after the pit phase. None of the other GT4 drivers wanting to come in just yet. Plenty of time on the clock. Andreas Mastachero here chasing down Ross Fallon. These two have been neck and neck the entire race. I think now Mastachero wanting to make the move back onto Fallon. I think Fallon making the move earlier. The thorn in their side, otherwise known as the leader, has made their pit stop and fallen back behind. That being Ollie Raza, and wow! That wasn't even close. Mastachero almost making contact with Ross Fallon, but keyword there being almost. Good effort though, nonetheless. Trying to make that move. Still a couple penalties yet to be served. Jose Guzman down in P20 needs to serve his penalty. I think there's a few others. But this battle here, Andreas Mastachero and Ross Fallon, I don't see this ending anytime soon. Never mind. I lied. Andreas Mastachero into the pits. The battle is over. For now. Of course, it will resume, I'm sure. Eric Gossian here and Jose Guzman fighting it out as well. Currently down in P20 and P19. Big drift there from the BMW of Jose. Oh, and a big drift from Eric Gossian. Oh, and Eric Gossian's in the barrier. Oh, no. What the heck happened? Oh, he had a tire on the grass. Oh, man. The KTM crossbow down in P20 now after making massive, massive contact with the barrier. Absolutely hate to see that. Reggie King pressuring onto Justin Beachley in that Audi. Audi not looking too hot here tonight. We'll see, though, if he can manage to keep the defense up from Reggie King. He does for right now on the short straight, but has about half the track to go. Battling, though, along, trying to keep that superior angle. That will cost him time coming onto the start-finish straight. Can we see Reggie King getting the better exit here? They can move maybe on to Justin Beachley as he tries to take that alternate line. Runs a bit wide, but that's just to carry the speed. Other cars coming into the pits. And now, finishing another lap here, we see Reggie King going to be trying to make a move here. On to Justin Beachley. Will he manage to get it done? Tucks down the inside. Doesn't make a move, though. Thinks better of it. Not quite far enough ahead to make that work. We'll see if he can manage to make anything work. Other cars in the pits. Casey Schutte and Jarek Snyder in the pits. Reggie King, though, keeps pushing along to catch Justin Beachley. Justin Beachley in the grass. And making a bit of pressure here. We see the Audi now behind Reggie King. Can he manage to take that position back? I'm not sure he'll be able to. 34 minutes left in this race. Justin Beachley, though, falling off a good bit. Ross Fallon in the pits. I'm not Jimmy as well. Bucknam takes the lead of this race. Yet to pit. We see here Jake Bucknam in the 690 Aston Martin. Leading the way. I'm not Jimmy now coming out of the pits. Staying in second position. Great race so far from I'm not Jimmy. Ross Fallon as well, coming out of the pits. Casey Schutte now actually will be overtaking at least one of them, and I'm not Jimmy, actually. Casey Schutte taking that second position after pitting. I think that is our preliminary race leader then, is Casey Schutte. I'm not Jimmy. Now coming out of the pits. Currently down in P4, Ollie Raza. Sitting down P3. Man, what happened to Ollie Raza? Ollie Raza with the fastest lap. 135.7 from him. But looking like he made a bit of a mistake. Casey Schutte has managed to pull up quite the gap on him. Back 12 seconds, I might even say. That's a very sizable gap. Ollie Raza was the race leader pre-pit stops. Looking like the overcut not quite working for him. Getting by the Mercedes of Daniel Versosa in the GT4 car. Will Brenner here pushing along. Couple drivers still yet to serve their penalty. Jose Guzman, one of them, as you can see, down in P17. Should see them coming into the pits relatively soon, as we are nearing the 30-minute mark. 31 minutes left to go in this race. This was an hour and 15-minute race, of course. One mandatory pit stop. Multi-class racing here next week. Of course, we will be seeing... let me just double check now that I think about it. I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing racing next week. But I don't want to say anything without knowing. Yes, we are. December 8th will be our final race of the season. So the current cars you're seeing in a GT3 car will be moving over to a GT4 car for the final race, and that race is at Hungaroring. So I hope everyone is excited for that one as well. But currently, we are now watching the Indianapolis 75-minute race. 30 minutes to go. These drivers battling their hearts out right now. We see side-by-side action almost. Alfonso managing to keep Will Brunner behind. So far, extremely clean driving, might I add, from basically everybody. No one getting a little handsy or anything. Everyone respecting each other, which is what you would expect to see come the second to final race of the season, of course. These drivers now are very familiar with each other on track and off track. The community has thrived massively since, which I'd like to thank everybody involved in that. Everyone in chat and everyone in this race, and who has signed up for the league and not participating in this race. Alright, real life happens, but currently we see side-by-side action. Will Brunner makes it look easy. Alfonso got nothing on him there. Alfonso will try to keep with him, but I'm not sure. That McLaren looks very fast. Will Brunner very much being a good pilot of that car tonight. And this is the closest battle on track, of course. Why don't we hop on board with Alfonso? Or you know what? Why don't we hop on board with Jarek Snyder? As Jarek Snyder currently chasing down Professor Kanotas. Professor Kanotas running in P7. Nice race from him. Jake Buckingham 17.5 seconds up the road from Jarek Snyder. Gets by Professor Kanotas. No, that was Provolone. In the Alpine, of course. Bit of an oversteer moment there from the AMG. AMG looking heavy as ever. But looking ahead, though, nonetheless, to Professor Kanotas. So here, Jarek Snyder lapping a 136.8 last lap, and Professor Kanotas lapping a 138.2. So, if that pace continues, especially with their best laps, best lap of Jarek Snyder is a 136.8, which was his last lap, and Professor Kanotas with a 137.5 as his fastest lap. So currently, Jarek Snyder with the pace has to make the overtake. And actually, speaking of overtakes, we see behind Kevin Yu going side by side here with Jose Guzman. I actually want to go back and see that. What happened here? We see Carlos Guzman trying to make a move down the inside. Oh, man. Turned into a bit of a car park on the freeway for a second, but everyone is all right. Kevin Yu keeps the position. Jose Guzman stays behind for right now. Jose Guzman yet to pit and still needs to make that 15-second penalty up. Beachley behind them has made their pit stop. The Audi looking actually quite rapid. Eric Miller leading the field currently. Yet to pit, of course. Justin Moffett in second for the GT4 field. Andreas Mastachero, though, leading the field. Right? No. Wait. What's happened? Okay, yeah, smart. Daniel Versosa down in third position. Jason Provolone, of course, leading the field after pitting. Looking like he's almost still in the race with the cars that haven't pit, which really shows just how fast Jason Provolone is tonight. Man has mastered the Alpine here around Indianapolis. And I'm Not Jimmy chasing down Ollie Raza. I don't think that's something I've said, well, quite frankly, ever. I'm Not Jimmy pushing along, almost onto the grass even. Trying to make that move onto Ollie Raza. Ollie Raza doing what he can, though, for the defense. Getting caught up a little bit in traffic of Jose Guzman. Jose Guzman still yet to pit. See, when he does decide to pit, he's playing long for a safety car. I hate to break it to him, but there's no safety cars in this. Side by side, though, I'm Not Jimmy trying to make a move around the long way. Does manage to get the binders on late enough. Gets the position onto Ollie Raza. Ollie Raza is going to try to fight that back. We see Justin Beachley trying to get involved with as a back marker and get in the action as well, but gets out of the way quite quickly. And I'm Not Jimmy securing that P2. Lovely, lovely overtake. Ollie Raza with nothing on him there. Casey Schutte, though, leading this race, has made his pit stop. That 444 Aston Martin. This race currently dominated by Aston Martins in the GT3 field. And GT4 field, for that matter. This race is dominated by Aston Martins in general. We have two first and second in the GT3 field led by Aston Martins, and first and second in the GT4 fields. So far, Aston Martin looking very strong here at Indianapolis. These drivers pushing it to the absolute limit, too. And doing a great job of it. Casey Schutte, in particular, one of the drivers that has. Ollie Raza still with the fastest lap, 135.7. Been a little bit since he's lapped that, but nonetheless been getting held up in traffic, which is understandable, of course. We'll see if he can manage to keep up. Other battles happening on track. Not too many, actually. Drivers mainly trying to navigate traffic right now. Find the position that they belong in and work out their pit stops, as we see Jose Guzman down in P18 yet to pit. Has that 15-second penalty, though. Trying to ride that out as long as he can. Looking like that it isn't going to work tonight for him. But that's all right. I mean, a 15-second penalty is hard to make up anyways. Casey Schutte leading, though. Let's see here. Where's Eric Miller? Eric Miller leading the field currently. Actually lapping Eric Gagosian. Eric Miller lapping Eric Gagosian there. Both GT4 cars. Eric Miller, though, yet to pit. Eric Gagosian, of course, has. And we have 22 minutes left in this race. We're going to need to see a pit stop very soon here from these drivers that have yet to. As they're waiting quite late. We see Bucknam trying to get by the GT4 crowd, catching up at a very unfortunate time. Actually losing quite a bit of time. But gets by nonetheless. That's the battle with traffic, of course. Looking a bit further up the field, Ross Fallon here. Trying to make a move onto Andreas Mastachero into T1. Doesn't quite make a move of it. We see the car breaking the slipstream behind of Kevin Yu and Justin Beachley. Ross Fallon not quite making a move just yet. This is going to be some Porsche on Porsche action. We see cars getting in the way. That's Reggie King there, Aston Martin, but getting out of the way quite quickly. And now that leaves Fallon to attack Mastachero. Mastachero has no barrier between him and that Porsche. Well, I guess they're both Porsches. Ross is right on the diffuser of Andreas. And I don't think he is going anywhere anytime soon. As we see, trying to make a look down the inside. Any little mistake we see from Andreas is going to try to be punished by Ross. Ross now catching up to Carlos Guzman. Is going to manage to get that lap car taken care of very quickly, along with Ross Fallon. That is not what Andreas wants to see. Andreas mainly wants to try to find a part of traffic, which he isn't going to, as there are no cars in front of him practically. And yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky. Keep that Porsche there of Ross Fallon, the 55 Porsche, behind. But Ross looking fairly contempt right now, not making any sudden moves. Potentially could have tucked out and made a move late on the brakes, but thinks better of it, seeing that they are in the same machinery. Coming through the horseshoe now. Ross Fallon almost struggling to keep up. Actually, what the heck happened here? Ollie Raza has got by Casey Schutte. What the heck? You see side-by-side action here. Let's go. We're back in time a little bit. Casey Schutte in that Aston Martin, and Ollie Raza just slamming the door shut late on the brakes. Lovely, lovely overtake. Wow. Ollie Raza not wasting any time indeed with that. Polystyrene all over the track. But Casey Schutte now with all the work to do ahead of him. That was a very nice overtake indeed from Ollie Raza. Right along with Casey Schutte right now as he looks ahead to Ollie Raza. See if they can manage to make anything happen. Be a little bit tricky. 18 minutes left to go. Tires, assuming none of these drivers took tires at the pit stops, which I have no idea if they did or didn't. Their tires are going to be dying here soon if they didn't. So we might see different cars gaining a good bit of pace onto other cars. Of course, though, we'll see if that was worth it in the end. See there, Jason Provolone getting out of the way. Our race leader, actually not our race leader in the GT4s. Jason Provolone down in P4 in the GT4s. Eric Miller, our race leader. Do not know what happened there. Ross Fallon not giving up though whatsoever, chasing down Andreas, trying to take any alternate line he can, getting any advantage possible. Not quite going to work just yet as they round the final chicane. We'll see here if Ross can manage to get the better exit. It's a mirror match here. Both cars exactly the same. Very, very defensive goes Andreas. Stays right in the slipstream though, does Fallen. Fallen trying to go down to the outside, and a massive squeeze there from Andreas. Andreas using the track very wisely, not giving Fallon one opportunity to get by. It was a lovely defense, and he's going to need to keep that up. Andreas still quite a bit of work to do to keep Ross behind him for the rest of this race. 15 and a half minutes to go, just about. And these guys doing absolutely everything they can. As we can see here, jumping back with Ross Fallon. Just see how much oversteer he has as he is pushing this Porsche to the absolute maximum, this rear engine car. Very uneasy, to put it lightly, by nature, but Ross and Andreas, both these guys making that car look like basically a McLaren, which is essentially on rails. Very impressive to do. I can't do it. Porsche, never quite my forte. But these guys making it look easy. Up into 6th gear, down the start-finish straight. Gonna be just trying to close that gap up as much as he can to Andreas. Get right on that bumper. That way, next lap, he has a good opportunity. Bit of a tank slapper up ahead from Andreas. That'll give a good bit of momentum, but everyone having to slam on their brakes very quickly, unfortunately, for Ross Fallon. Lap traffic coming up, though. Could be a game changer. We see Tanner Masters, Daniel Versosa, and Anthony Macho Camacho. Actually, Anthony is a bit up the road. These two cars, though, getting out of the way very respectfully. That is Anthony Macho Camacho up ahead in the number 7 Audi. Hydration time. Oh, but there's a move. Oh, that's not a move. That's lap traffic. We're good. It's hydration. All right. Fallon not giving up. Looks like this battle may even come down to the last lap. Even if Fallon does get by, I think Mastachero has the pace to get that overtake done again. But that's assuming that Ross can manage to get the overtake done, tucks to the inside again, thinks better of his look. Would have been a pretty hard send if he went for that. No doubt about that. A bit further back, we see another battle here of Justin Beachley chasing down Reggie King. These two about a second than each other. See if that Audi has the pace on the Aston Martin. That Aston Martin an absolute rocket. And actually, we see a car off the track. I think that's a BMW. I don't know who that is. Oh, it's Carlos Guzman. Okay. He is taking an alternate route, which will actually give quite the advantage on to Beachley. Beachley sticking with him, for now at least. See if Reggie King can manage to get the pace to drop him. This is for the GT4 class. We see yellow flag. Jose Guzman off the track. What has happened here? I don't know. Man's doing donuts. That's what happened. Looking like whatever happened, he did get out of the track quite safely. So, respect to him there. Yeah, if this Beachley and King, if they keep scrapping at it, they are going to have Kevin Yu in their rearview mirror very quickly. So they either need to work together or get the job done, but I say that there's 11 and a half minutes left, so working together is kind of out of the question right now. Not really enough time to do that. Still drivers that need to make a pit stop. Eric Miller, yet to make a pit. Actually go through and take a look at that. See, Eric Miller, Justin Moffitt, Daniel Versosa, all in the GT4 is yet to make a pit, so Jason Provolone, our preliminary race leader, currently sitting in P14, P4 overall. Jose as well, yet to make a pit stop. So basically, all only GT4 cars yet to make a pit stop. All of the GT3 cars have managed to make their pit stop. Wow. Okay, that kind of startled me. And I'm sure we will see them making their pit stop relatively soon. As, well, they kind of have to. Bit of side-by-side action, though. Beachley making a move on to Reggie King. In a very tricky and tight part of the track here, coming into the horseshoe. Beachley will have the edge around the outside line. Does manage to keep it sealed for right now, but runs a bit deep. That'll give the opportunity to Reggie King down the inside, but he fights back. Justin Beachley secures that position for now. Reggie King might have to be looking behind, or Justin Beachley. Actually, we might even see Kevin Yu try to make a move down the inside of all of these drivers. He doesn't, but that would have been quite the move if he did. So these drivers pushing each other along right now for this last phase of the race. Had an hour and 15 minutes on the clock so far, 10 minutes left. Big move from that Mad Panda. That's a GT3 car and a GT4, that's why. So actually that Afonso got held up quite a bit in that exchange, I should say. And we actually almost see 3 wide there. Wow, okay. Anthony Bancho Camacho, Tanner Masters, and Professor Kenotis. Only 2 of them being on the same lap. Professor Kenotis as well in a different class. But battling along we go. Will Tanner Masters manage to make a move? Takes a very late look down the inside. Extremely late look. But keeps it on track. And sticks the overtake. Wow. What a nice overtake. Tanner Masters seals that, licks the stamp, and sends it. Gets the job done, too. It was very impressive. Daniel Versosa still yet to make a pit. Jose Guzman as well. They are running out of time to do so. And it looks like Camacho does not have a response to that. We'll see here. Coming down the start-finish straight if he does. But Tanner Masters, I think, managed to get that overtake done. And very handedly. That was a very nice overtake from Tanner Masters. And I think he has managed to seal that position for right now. And Bucknam Love, Jimmy Love. Jimmy is doing amazing. Jimmy's leading this race? The heck? Where did this man... Where did he come from? 7 minutes left to go. Leading this race by about 4.5 seconds. That's, talk about the most improved driver over the season, I would say. Driver we consistently saw qualifying in 11th, and then we saw consistently qualifying in 7th, And, well, we'll see where they qualify from here. Oh, but there's contact! As I say that, we see a car around. That's the car. Reggie King, the 33 Aston Martin, makes contact with the GT3 car of I'm Not Jimmy. You absolutely hate to see that in these closing phases of the race. Didn't really see who was at fault for that one, but that's also not my judge. That does give a good bit of clean air, though, to I'm Not Jimmy. Ollie Raza now, though, 2 seconds behind. We'll see. I'm Not Jimmy has managed to pull the gap so far, so I think he can manage to hold that. 5.5 or 6 minutes left to go in this race. Yeah, I'm not sure, Falco. I have no idea. That was, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, which I think I could be, Ollie Raza went for the undercut, and the undercut did not work whatsoever. Drivers that stayed out longer got massively rewarded, but Casey Schutte was in the lead, though. So something happened to him. Casey Schutte now 8 seconds to Ollie Raza. I feel like that could have potentially been a race win for him as well. I'm Not Jimmy, though. I'm sure we'll be quite happy to take that for right now. Has to work for it. Still 5 minutes left to go, and only a 2-second gap to Ollie Raza behind. So no room for error whatsoever. But I'm Not Jimmy, a driver we've seen very consistent throughout this season. As I said, consistently finishing in basically every place he qualifies in. He has managed to, well, take first place for right now. Doesn't have long to go. Won't say anything just yet, as of course anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. So we'll see. A bit further back we see Anthony Camacho. Wow, there's still drivers yet to make a pit. Daniel Versosa and Jose Guzman. Okay, that's Daniel Versosa in the pits. And Jose Guzman, I would imagine, as well, is gonna have to... He's not coming into the pits this lap, at least. Well, he kind of literally has to go into the pits next lap. So we'll see. Yellow flag from Afonso. What happened here? He's out of fuel? What the heck happened? No, he's not out of fuel. All right. I don't know. Ross Fallon still chasing down Andreas. Only a few more laps to go. Eric Miller in the pits. That was our GT4 race leader. Now we'll be getting overtaken, I think, by Moffitt. Actually, Moffitt's in the pits, I should say. Provolone will be taking our race lead, of course. Justin Beachley here, taking the P2. Maybe, actually. I don't think he will be. I think he'll be sticking in P4. I think these two will come out of the pits before that. It'll be close, but we'll see. Ross Fallon here making a move on to Andreas Mastachero. These two battling along with each other for the whole race, pretty much, it feels. And still plenty of fight left in both of them. Mower getting caught by Chrono? Oh no. Oh, big send! Ross Fallon making a big move down the inside. Doesn't get it done. Andreas holds it off, but a still very nice move. We'll see into T1. Extremely defensive goes Andreas Mastachero. Ross Fallon sticking on that racing line, though. Can he manage to go late enough on the brakes to get that overtake sealed? He doesn't just yet. Andreas, though, a bit deep. That'll give the better exit to Ross Fallon, but Ross Fallon, I think, might have to lift off the throttle just a little bit as he is behind, but has a bit of an opportunity to make a good send. These two absolutely all over each other. Ross Fallon not giving up whatsoever. These two, one lap to go. Oh, but there's a big wow. Massive moment of oversteer from Ross Fallon. Ross Fallon pushing just slightly too hard, unfortunately. And we see a drive-through penalty for Eric Miller. The heck happened here? I mean, obviously track limits. But you absolutely hate to see it. Will Brenner chasing down Jarek Snyder here. This is going to be for P8 overall. Will Brenner, who seemingly had a fairly good race up until a little bit later on. But that doesn't matter right now, as I'm Not Jimmy on the final lap. Alfonso is going slow again. I don't know why. Cronotis chasing down Bucknam. Oh, has to make a very late jig to the outside. Almost collecting Bucknam in a bit of an incident there, getting caught up with that Porsche in lap traffic. And actually, almost getting in a little bit of collision with the Porsche. Professor Cronotis pushing the wheels off of that car. Trying to get that overtake done in the shortest amount of time possible. Yellow flag, 129 car, that's Jose Guzman. He's off. But we'll follow here. I'm Not Jimmy for the final little bit of his lap. As, what a splendid drive from that 69 Aston Martin. Sitting in P1 right now, is going to manage to round the final chicane, come around the final corner, and then come across the line for that P1. Lovely, lovely race from I'm Not Jimmy. Ollie Raza close behind, 1.5 seconds behind. Casey Schutte not quite that close behind, but still is going to secure that podium position here for P3. Coming across the line just now. Does manage to get it done. Other drivers there. I think that was Tanner Masters, Camacho, and Jose coming across the line as well. And we see a lot of drivers coming across the line now. Masachero, Fallon. Fallon not quite getting that move done after that error. Alfonso coming across the line. Battles going on still. Will Brenner, Jarek Snyder, and Professor Cronotis as well, actually. These guys scrapping it out. Will be coming down to the final corner, but I think Bucknam is going to manage to have that secured for P6. Professor Cronotis for P7. Behind that, Jarek Snyder for P8. Will Brenner for P9. And now a whole other lot of cars. So an absolutely awesome race overall. Tight racing throughout the field. We're going to grab our race top 3. If I can find them. Normally I'm Not Jimmy's in the Discord. Well, I'm Not Jimmy. If you're in chat, congratulations first off, and get in the Discord. We're gonna grab, I guess, Casey. Hello, Casey.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. How about you? Good race. Looked like it slipped away a little bit for me at the end there.
Yeah, around lap, I don't know if it was 17 or 18, there were a couple GT4s had a moment, and one came back onto the track, and so I ended up with like 10 seconds of damage, and then I made a decision. I knew I probably wasn't going to be able to keep up with Jimmy and Raza, so I just said, you know what, I'm gonna not fix it, not take tires, take fuel, and just see if we could have maintain enough gap and still get a podium.
Well, it looks like that actually worked out quite well for you then.
Yeah, so it was just kind of a last second thing of not taking tires and kind of biting a bullet and trying to maintain that gap. Looked like there was a big enough gap between us and the kind of the three at the front for the first part of the race, and the pack behind that kind of hoped it would work, and it turned out it did.
All right. Ollie Raza, got that second position there for you. What happened to you?
Uh, I think in the beginning of the race, there was I got into back markers and there was just like too many at once, like two or three. I had to slow down a bunch, and then because I slowed down, I think Jimmy hit me in the back, and then I hit him. It was like a weird situation, so I got like a bunch of damage and pressure loss, so I had to pit early. So, but I tried my best to catch up to Jimmy. I ended up changing tires and stuff, but he was only a second off in the end. But yeah, great race by Jimmy. He deserved it.
Yeah, and I'm Not Jimmy now joining us. Dude, congratulations.
Thank you.
That was an awesome drive.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
You essentially did everything you needed and managed to secure that. Anything notable?
I got kind of confused. I was like, how the fuck did Case gap us after the pits? And then I clued in he didn't take tires.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like-
and I didn't fix the damage either from the Porsche incident, the GT4s that lost it there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun. That first, what was it, 20 minutes when we were all nose to tail, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
Yeah, it was a good race. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that first 18 or so laps, yeah, it was good stuff.
Even in the end, like I almost got really close to Jimmy, and I was sweating.
I missed my brakes at one point and almost took 3 of them out.
Oh shoot! Oh no!
Pressure almost got to you.
Almost.
But it didn't. So
Yeah.
congratulations on your win here.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Yep,
Hope you can
good
carry
job.
that into the last race, all you guys. As this is this is the penultimate race of the season.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I will miss next week. I have to travel out of town for work, so this was my final go. So I'm glad I got a podium, and great race to Ali and great race, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for participating, Casey.
Yeah, no problem. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and yeah, look forward to some more events down the road.
Cool. And anything else from either of you guys?
No.
Lovely, because I was hoping you guys did, so I can get a raid going on here. Just give me a second.
I mean, you could just raid me, but...
Okay. I will.
Yeah, awesome.
Where's your...
The bearded driver.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
I knew that. I rated you last time.
Yep.
All right. Well, everyone, head over to I'm Not Jimmy, our race winner. And he's an awesome guy. So make sure you guys go check him out. Bearded driver. I'm going to send the raid over to him. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. And make sure you guys go check out I'm Not Jimmy. Oh, wait. Is that Eric? That is Eric. Eric, what's up?
Hello.
You got like 4 seconds to talk.
Good race.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Later. Thanks.
All right. Bye, everyone.